is the
Okay.
Do we all see the same colours? It depends. Do we mean colour before or after we see it? Before we see it, colour is basically light, a bunch of photons with different wavelengths.
Wait. I need to turn on the button. The button!
When light shines on an object, the photons bump into its atoms and, depending on their wavelengths, either get absorbed, transmitted, or bounce off. The wavelengths we receive are the same, but how we perceive them is different and starts in the back of your eyeballs. A thin layer of light.
If I were you, I would have not made these look the same. But you can see how one looks kind of like it's round and the other one looks square? That's close enough, but there's more nuance to cones and rods than that. But whatever.
Sensitive cells act like radio antennas. Roughly speaking, there are 3 types of these cells which are tuned into the stations for red, green and blue. When they detect a photon in their bandwidth, they send a signal to the brain, where it's translated into your very own version of that colour. Every brain has to come up independently with how it renders each of the roughly 1 million colours humans can see. As soon as we try to describe how they...
Okay, so the way your brain interprets color is that those signals can be translated into whatever else. Some people being colorblind is a completely different thing. I would say most people wouldn't, or you would think that the majority of people actually see color as the same color. Although, it's all to speculation, I would say that the color on this wheel is the same to pretty much everyone who isn't having some kind of, like, reconfiguring thing happening. However,
look, feel or taste to us, the results are pretty different. So even though we have...
this is an example of not that, because the actual dress and the situation which that was is about color being interpreted by your mind as, is this a...
names for some of them, it's unlikely that we all see the exact same.
Okay, so it's not about their brains were acting differently because of what they saw and they can't actually see color correctly, so they came to that conclusion. It's that their brains saw this color, and some people thought that the color of the dress was based on it being fully lit up, right? And some people thought about it being fully dark, and the way that colors change between being in light and dark is different. So the actual reality is, there is only one color of the dress. However, the similar colors that can happen because of a certain amount of darkness is the way that the brain logics those colors to be. And that has everything to do with your brain thinking patterns. It has nothing to do with your ability, or it has nothing to do with your brain's knowing what those colors are, reality. The question isn't about what you see right now. It's about what you assume it is when you put it back into normal full illumination. So some people would say blue and black, and I can't for the life of me think about how that works without looking at the actual dress itself. So let's do that. Many other people interpreted this, and it all comes down to this, which is actually gold and white in the shade of the room. The rest of the room is fully lit up behind them, but the room that they are in is not lit up. So this dress is actually like white, and now it looks entirely weird where it's blue and black. But that's not how you fully.
Ever seen this dress before? Let me know what colors you see in the comments section. Do you see blue and black, or do you see white and gold?
First of all, there is no blue and black. It's clearly white and gold, and the room that it's actually in is not illuminated. Where's the blue and black in this?
Why did some people see this viral dress as being black and blue, and why did some see it as white and gold? First, let's see where this all began. Back in February 2015, Cecilia Bleasdale took a photograph of a dress that she was planning on wearing to her daughter's wedding. The dress was blue with black lace, but when the daughter received the picture from Cecilia, she responded by saying it appeared to her as being white with gold lace. The daughter posted the picture on Facebook, where some of her friends...
So here's the blue and black, that apparently there is too much yellow, and the yellow obscures the blue, so you think it's... Oh, that you see, this is the exact thing. I said what I told you the brain is doing. You assume that the room is not as illuminated, and you're wondering what is actually happening to the light. It is a yellow on the blue and black, which makes it gold. It's an artificial yellow. It's not the real color, and it makes the blue less saturated, so it looks more like what white looks like when you put a blue filter on everything. So it looked like a blue filter to some people. That's what their brains thought was happening, or their logic centers thought was happening. But instead, apparently, it's a yellow filter that's going on the thing, which can result in the same colors, but it's context clues that allow us to tell the difference between a blue filter and a yellow filter. And that's the thing. What the hell was the actual conditions of the thing? And apparently, it's when you know the reality of it, then it makes total sense that the light was so bright, apparently, or whatever, but it seemed like the dress was in dim light that you associate it with a blue filter.
saw it as being white with gold, and others seeing it as black and blue. The dress quickly went viral, and the debate spread to millions of group chats all over the world. But again, why do we see this dress differently? It comes down to a scientific phenomenon called color constancy. Basically, the dress is up so close in the picture that each of our brains is left to fill in the gap with what the surroundings are and what kind of light is shining on it. If you see the dress as white and gold, you might assume it's in a shadow near a window, and because shadows naturally have a bluish tint, the brain subtracts the blue from the dress, making it appear white. If you see the dress as black and blue, your brain is assuming the dress is being viewed under artificial light, which has...
What I just fucking said. So, karzgesagt, you failed to understand how we interpret things based on what we assume, what colors are actually being projected onto it, and what filters are there. So if we got the filtering wrong in our brains of what we assume is happening, then yeah, I literally said it. I thought it was a blue filter, when in fact it was a yellow filter. That's how brains work. They just need the right context clues and they can know what reality is. But I got it wrong, and I said gold with blue filter. It was blue and black, which I couldn't see because, again, this doesn't look blue and black. But the gold, the way that the light makes it gold is so crazy. Yeah, exactly. The same filter. It could be either one. It depends on which filter you're using. And it's like this one is lit up and it shows up like that, and this one's darker and it shows up like that. It's like, huh. It's like you look at it and both phenomenons can happen at the same time and yet and produce the same 2 plus 2 equals 4. However, it's really a way of without knowing what those two numbers is, you end up losing the context. You end up losing the truth of what it is. So once you know the truth of it, you can't unsee it. But just going off of the look of the dress, I would say that's white gold, simply because I don't know what light is being shone on it. But I also don't see blue and black in this picture. This is just the picture.
In 2015, a controversy broke out over the color of the dress, called the black, blue, or white gold dress. This debate stems from the difference in how people perceive the color of the dress when looking at photos on the internet. So let's find out. The reflection of light and the way the human eye perceives color at different times and conditions are believed to cause discrepancies in the perception of the color of a dress. RuliWeb, an online forum for gameplay.
Basically, our brains, or our logic center of the brain, interprets the dress based on what we assume is happening, and yeah, that's how we get the two different answers. So, it's not that we see different colors, honey. When you originally made your statement, you were talking about, do we see different colors? This is not the same phenomenon as seeing different colors. This is...
Do we all see the same colors? It depends. So even though we have names for some of them, it's unlikely that we all see the exact same set of colors.
We saw the exact same set of colors. What we assumed was the truth. What happens when you put it into real, full, illuminated light with no filter? And our brain said, we know what happens when we put it into a normal filter. But we assume either one is in a yellow and one is in a... You get it. I've said it enough. But, like... This is essential. This is important, okay? Karzgesagt. This is essentially misinformation. Saying that our brains worked differently and actually saw different colors. These are not colorblind people who got it wrong. These are normal people using different logic to come to the different conclusions. Okay? And it has nothing to do with the brain. It has everything to do with your logic. Which has to do with not the physicality of your brain. It has nothing to do with how your brain interprets things. It has to do with what you experience and what you assume is what is behind the filter. And that's what we were seeing. Because I literally got it wrong. Because I didn't have the context clues. It's borderline misinformation. But at this point in time, let me tell you something. At this point in time, in the year of our Lord, 2024, this was a solved case. So you did not have any reason to say this is possibly your brains just not seeing the same colors as each other. This is essentially, the dress is the wrong example for the case of do we see different colors. Do we see different colors is very good when it comes to stuff like those random pair two different colors together, and one of them is the background and the other one is a number or something, and you're trying to do colorblind tests that way to see if you have sensitivity to red or green or blue or whatever. And depending on how many color receptors or whatever else you have of whatever spectrum, you're more likely to see that discrepancy in your eye. Could be it, or it could be a way that the brain interprets or turns on and off or ignores certain cones. So the majority of what you see is desaturated. A bunch of different ways that can happen, but it's not anything to do with the dress. The dress is a different phenomenon whatsoever. That's an illusion. Everyone experiences the same illusion. Everyone sees the same colors when they look at this, but they don't see. They interpret it as a different filter. I've said enough. I need to make this shorter video. I need to make this short now.